Hello, goddesses. Zena here with another episode of Temple Tuesday. And as promised, I am here with the episode all about motivation, everything that you need to know about motivation. And I myself have just come out of my workout, crazy hair and all, come out of my workout, which I'm finally finishing up tonight, that I drug my feet to today because I wasn't feeling particularly motivated. So this question around motivation, I get asked a lot. I get asked a lot how I stay motivated. I get asked a lot how someone should maintain motivation. What can they do to stay motivated? So it's the getting of motivation and it's the staying motivated that people seem to be after. And what I have to say about motivation, and I think the key thing to remember about motivation is that motivation really isn't a thing. And what I mean by that is, yes, there are times that we have the sensation or feeling of being motivated to start something or get going on something or to have that workout that day. But it isn't a thing to rely on, because motivation is that it's a feeling. It is a feeling, and as all feelings do, it comes and it goes. So there are going to be times when we feel motivated and there's going to be times when we don't. And I've talked about this before, so it's sort of like a sine wave. So we have high motivation, then we have low motivation, then we have high motivation, then we have low motivation. If we depended on motivation to get to our fitness goals with these highs and the lows, so okay, well, we feel like working out, so we do, but now the motivation is low and then we don't. And then the motivation is high, so we do, but now the motivation is low, then we don't. Then we're going to take so long to get to our fitness goal if we even get there at all, if we're relying on motivation to be the thing that gets us doing the job. So we cannot rely on motivation. So what do we rely on? What can get us through these sine waves? What's the constant that we can depend on? And that's discipline. That's being disciplined. That's creating discipline. That's being consistent. So how do we get disciplined in our I call it a practice, in our fitness practice? How do we become disciplined in our journey? And that is exactly why I developed the 100 squats. I didn't develop 100 squats a day. That was a concept that was around, but I developed the daily 3 after that. And so I had started doing the 100 squats a day challenge to get myself doing the smallest little thing that I could commit to on a consistent basis. I knew I could do that consistently because I wasn't expecting a lot out of myself. And after that, I developed the daily 3. Again, a full body workout, at the very least that I could get that done in a day, because it didn't, like we've talked about before, it doesn't take any equipment, doesn't take that much time. I don't have to go to the gym. I don't change my clothes. There's no excuses to getting it done. The key to cultivating a habit and cultivating consistency with that, you have to cultivate enough consistency for something to become a habit. So how does that happen? For something to become a habit, it doesn't matter how long you do it. It matters how often you do it. So it doesn't matter if you go to the gym for an hour on Monday, but then you don't go to the gym again until the following Monday for an hour. You will do much more to cultivating consistency and discipline if you were to go to the gym 10 minutes a day for 5 days a week. That would create more of a habit to build off of than expecting an hour. So that was sort of the thinking behind when I developed that the daily 3 as a gateway to get me doing more, but to get me in the habit of doing my exercise daily. So I recently read a book called Atomic Habits. I don't remember the author right offhand, but it's a very popular book right now, and it spoke to me because it was saying exactly the things that had occurred to me when I developed this series for myself and developed these daily 3 exercises to help get people in, to create momentum and to start to build discipline and be able to have the consistency in order to get to a goal. And it said a lot of the same things in that book that I had were the reasons behind why I had done that. So having something that you can do day to day to day to day is going to give you that consistency. It's going to give you that discipline. And you have to understand that in order to get to your goal consistency is key. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to feel like doing it. And some days you don't have to do all of it. So as many of you know, I have the philosophy of don't do nothing because you can't do everything. Doing something is better than doing nothing. So maybe your day has gotten completely derailed. You can't do your hour-long workout, but you can do the daily 3. Or maybe that day you can't do, somehow you didn't have enough time to do your 100 squats, but you can do 25. Just that act of doing something will create consistency in your life. And then as you have that consistency, you grow that discipline muscle, and then it just becomes an integrated part of your life. For myself, I think I was in my second 100-day challenge that we had done, and I had had a day where I just skipped my brain that day to do the squats. But I was laying in bed and I knew, I'm like, I have forgotten something today. And because doing the squats had become so integrated for me, I realized, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to do my squats today. So I hopped out of bed, quickly got them done, hopped back into bed. It was fine. But it had become so, integrated into my life that I had that sensation, that feeling of, I didn't tick a box today. What box didn't I tick? And then once I had figured out what it was, I was so uncomfortable. Not in that OCD sort of way, but just knowing I had made this commitment and I had fallen. If I didn't do it, I would have fallen short that day of meeting that commitment. And I really wanted to meet it because it was a promise I had made myself to do it. So that's the thinking behind, for me, how I built my discipline. Doing those things consistently over time and having that regular small little thing that I promised myself that I would do then led to bigger things. And then led to a regular program where I'm doing weight training for an hour, 2 hours a day, doing my walks, all of that. All of that stemmed from the discipline to do that, stemmed from the discipline of doing something, doing 100 squats a day, doing the daily 3 every day, building on that until I was doing more. And then if I can't get to a full workout, I know what I can back myself up to. I know what I can anchor myself to. So maybe tomorrow my day gets derailed. I can't do the full workout that I have scheduled, but I know I can do something. I know I can do a piece of it. I know I can do a part of it. That's how you create discipline, because you're not always going to feel like it. You're not always going to want to do it, and you're going to have to do it anyway if you want to get to your goal. That's not to say there aren't days to take rest. That's not to say that you shouldn't listen to your body when you're injured. Of course, there are those times. But the times when you just don't want to get off the couch because you've had a long day, or the times where the times where you're just not vibing with it that day. You just don't want to do it. I have those days all the time. Or maybe I have an emotional day. Maybe there's something that's just thrown my emotions out of whack that day and I just don't want to do it. I'm upset or, just feeling depressed or something, and I just don't want to exercise. But I do it. I make myself go and do it, even if I can't do all of it. Sometimes I tell myself, okay, I just don't really feel like doing this, but I'll show up for the warm-up. And then I get through the warm-up and I say, okay, I'll show up for one more. I'll do one set of bicep curls or something. And sometimes that'll be it. I'll be like, yep, that's all I can manage today, and then I'll be done. Or other times, I get in the flow and all of a sudden I'm there and I'm doing it and I can finish the whole workout and it's fine. And I'm so glad that I did, and I feel so much better and my mood's lighter and all of that. So you really have to be able to know that you've made a decision to do whatever it is that your plan is for your fitness. And then you show up for yourself. You show up for yourself every single day, even if you can only show up for yourself in that way for 5 minutes. The more you show up for yourself, the more you will cultivate a habit and cultivate the discipline and cultivate the consistency of showing up for yourself in that way. And you'll do it more and you'll do it more and you'll do it more. So my suggestion is to take motivation, ride that wave when you have it. But when you don't, you got to sink and you got to lean into your discipline. You got to lean into the promise you made yourself. You got to remind yourself of your whys while you're doing it. And you got to ride it out. And there'll be a time when the motivation hits high again. So yeah, great, ride that wave. Just don't depend on it. Depend on your inner discipline. Depend on you showing up for you because you deserve the best of you. So that is what I have to say about discipline. If you have any other questions, let me know. If you have something you want to comment or something that you want to share with us about discipline or motivation, please let us know. That would be happy to see that in the comments. And as far as things coming up, I do have one more spot right now for in my schedule for a VIP, so that if anybody is interested in that, that is available. And then, so the training that we did on weight loss versus fat, it was like losing fat and toning up. That went really well. And I was actually going to share it here on the page and I forgot to hit record. So I may be doing a redo of that for the people that didn't get to do it the first time. And I'm going to break it up into two parts because we covered a lot in that discussion about just the science and the facts of how fat loss happens and how muscle growth happens, how they affect each other. But we didn't get a lot of time to talk about how mindset plays into that, because mindset is a very important piece. And so I'd love to break it up into two 1-hour sections where we talk about fat loss and muscle building from the perspective of just sort of the numbers of it, and then looking at it from the perspective of the mindset of it. So I'll be looking at doing that. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. And that concludes this week's episode of Temple Tuesday. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments or message me. And I will see you next week and we'll figure out what our next topic will be. All right, bye.